What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to another Major League Baseball video. Today is going to be a lot of fun because what we're going to be talking about today is we will be going over every single team that has a chance of winning the World Series, but we're going to make it a little bit more fun because I'll be honest with you guys, I was doing a live stream a couple of days ago and people were asking, Fuzzy, who do you think is going to win the 2019 World Series? And I don't know. There are so many teams that got better in the 2018 and 2019 offseason that I had to stop and think, really, I don't really know. So what I needed to find out is I wanted to see if there was an article that was published recently from an established baseball company that they took a poll or something like that, and I actually found one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link that article in the description down below. I'm not going to name any names, but there was 14 voters in this poll, and they're all baseball savants. They love baseball. They breathe baseball on a daily basis. So what we're going to do is we're going to use their predictions and go off of that because, to be honest, they're pretty spot on. So before we start talking about the article and going over the results of the 14 pollers, what we have to do is we have to go over the Las Vegas odds and who they think is going to win this year in the 2019 World Series. If you guys are confused by odds, just know that the lower number that you have, the better chance that you have of winning. Betting is really weird. Don't even worry about it. So I got you guys. But the number one team right now at a 6-1 odds is the New York Yankees, followed by the Red Sox at 7-1, the Houston Astros, the LA Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies, who just jumped up a good amount of spots because they were able to add Bryce Harper. So that's also one thing that we have to remember as well. Last year in 2018, the Red Sox had a 10-1 chance of winning the World Series, but as soon as they added JD Martinez, their odds went up. So just know that this list is not finite. It's not completely concrete. This can change. Let's say that the Houston Astros sign Gio Gonzalez or Dallas Keuchel, they could go up. The Chicago Cubs are at number 6, followed by the Cleveland Indians. In my opinion, a dark horse pick to win the World Series, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Atlanta Braves, the Nationals, the Brewers, the Mets, the A's, the Rays, the Rockies. So there's a lot of teams that weren't very good last year, but have actually improved in the offseason, and they're getting some respect, aka the Twins and the Mets. They've improved. I think this video is going to be a whole lot easier to follow if we go division by division. So the first division that I want to start with is going to be an absolute slugfest this year in 2019 is the NL East. We're talking about the Phillies, the Mets, the Braves, and then obviously the Washington Nationals. So let's talk about who the voters voted for. Again, there are 14 voters, so if we count them up, there was 8 votes to Philadelphia because they just added Bryce Harper. If they can add one more pitcher, I'm sure they would have had even more votes. But there was 8 votes to the Philadelphia Phillies, there was 3 votes to the Nationals, 2 votes to the Braves, and then 1 vote to the New York Mets. So I want you guys to follow along in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of all of these votes? Do you think that the Braves got stiffed? Do you think that they're going to be a whole lot better? Maybe the Mets deserve more votes than just the one. They are going to be losing Yoenis Cespedes for quite some time because I don't think he's healthy quite just yet. But the Braves are going to be better. They signed Josh Donaldson. They already have Ronald Acuna. I think their pitching needs to improve as well. So in my opinion, I feel like they got this right with the Philadelphia Phillies with 8 picks. I think that they're going to win this division, and I don't know if it's going to be close, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch this progress throughout the season. So what do you guys think? Who is going to take the NL East? Moving on over to the NL Central. Again, guys, there are going to be some teams that we don't talk about in this video. For example, in the NL Central, I don't think that the Pirates are going to do that well, and that's backed up by this poll right here. So we have 7 votes to the Chicago Cubs, which is a little surprising to me because, you know, they weren't very good in 2018, but there's a few little things that we have to talk about because injuries played a part in that. But the Cubs had 7 out of 14 votes, followed by the Cardinals with 4, and then the Milwaukee Brewers at 3. So pretty much the Cardinals and the Brewers are tied, but everyone has the Chicago Cubs pretty much running away with this division. I do have a few things to add. The Cardinals are going to be a whole lot better because they were able to add an MVP caliber player in Paul Goldschmidt. They added Andrew Miller. So if Andrew Miller comes back healthy and if Paul Goldschmidt plays at his level, the Cardinals can make a run at the Cubs, but the Cubs are getting healthier as well because Brandon Morrow is going to come back. Yu Darvish is looking pretty solid in spring training. Watch out for the Brewers as well. So just like the NL East, guys, let me know in the comment section down below who's going to win the NL Central. The last division in the National League is the NL West. So if we go through the votes, we have 10 votes to the LA Dodgers and then 4 to the Colorado Rockies. Apparently the Padres, they didn't make a big enough splash to these guys to be able to say, you know, Manny Machado is going to be that big of a difference. So for right now, there was 10 votes to the LA Dodgers, 4 votes to the Rockies. Even though they have Nolan Arenado, they were able to add Daniel Murphy, who's going to probably hit 25 to 30 home runs. They just added Mark Reynolds as well because he had his best year in Coors Field. So for right now, I do have to agree. I think the Dodgers are a little bit better than the Rockies because the rotation is insane. When you have Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Rich Hill, you have all the other guys on their squad, I think that they're going to be better, especially factoring in their bullpen. So the Rockies, they might be able to make a wild card push, but for right now, 10 votes to 4. It's not close, but who knows? It's baseball. The American League East, here's how the votes kind of played out. There was 14 voters again. Remember, of that 14 voters, there was 9 to New York and 5 to Boston. So a lot of people think that the Yankees had a great offseason, even though they didn't get Harper or Machado. They traded for James Paxton. They re-signed J.A. Happ. They have Zach Britton back on their squad. They signed Troy Tulowitzki and DJ LeMahieu because, Didi Gregorius is injured for quite some time. So a lot of people are saying the Yankees are back. They're going to take the division crown, but do not count out the Red Sox. This is the one division where I'm thinking, I'm not sure if the voters got it right, because the Red Sox, they're the World Series champions. They have the same players in place. How can you say that they're not as good as the Yankees? But that's just me. What do you guys think? The AL Central is a little less close in the minds of the voters. We have the Indians with 13 votes, and then we have one lonely voter with 1. Now, I do have to say, as an Indians fan, I have to give the Minnesota Twins some props because I think they had a very underrated offseason. They added guys like Nelson Cruz and Marwin Gonzalez, so I think their offense is going to be a whole lot better. The bullpen and the rotation, there's still some work to do, but I think the Twins are going to be better than what people are giving them. If I had to predict this poll, I thought maybe it was going to be 10 voters to the Indians, maybe 4 voters to the Twins, but 13 to 1, that's pretty crazy. All right, guys, so just to recap who these guys are predicting to win the divisions in 2019, we have the Phillies with 8 votes. We have the Cubs with 7 votes. We have the Los Angeles Dodgers with 10 votes. In the American League East, we have the Yankees with a 9-5 vote. In the Central, the Indians with a landslide. And then finally, in the American League West, we didn't talk about because the Astros, I think they're going to take this pretty easily. And it's pretty much backed up by the fact that all 14 voters chose the Astros. They are the 3rd pick from Las Vegas to take the World Series. So when you talk about the Oakland Athletics, when you talk about the Rangers or the Angels, I don't think any of them stand a chance to win that division. So now we have to talk about the wild card. So pretty much what they're saying by this is that we don't really know who is going to win the NL wild card just based off the votes. There was 14 people. They're all scattered. We even saw the Reds pick up a few votes, even though they weren't mentioned in the first half of the video. So what do you guys think? Who is going to win the divisions? Whoever doesn't win those divisions, if they have a good enough record, they are going to make the NL wild card. Again, this is just kind of all up in the air, but the wild card, it's going to be crazy in the National League. The American League is not so much scattered because 13 of the 14 voters either pick the Yankees or the Red Sox. So if they pick the Yankees to win the division, they pick the Red Sox to win the first AL wildcard. If they pick the Red Sox to win the division, vice versa. You guys get where I'm going. But I say 13 out of 14 because one of those 14 voters thinks that not only the Red Sox or the Yankees are going to win the division, but that the second team is not going to be the Red Sox or the Yankees. They think it's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. So I'm curious as to why they chose the Rays. I think the Rays are going to be improved in 2019. They added a guy like Tommy Pham, who's pretty good when he's on top of his game. Austin Meadows can rake. They added Charlie Moore into their rotation. So the Rays are going to be better. I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs, but there's one guy in this poll that thinks they have a chance. And also, guys, I'm going to add this simply because it hasn't been talked about just yet in the video in terms of this article, but the Angels, they are improved as well. They're playing pretty good in spring training. Justin Bour is on fire. He's hitting 480-foot home runs already in the Cactus League. So if Matt Harvey has a bounce back season, if Trevor Cahill can do what he does, if Tyler Skaggs and Nick Tropiano can have good seasons, factor in Mike Trout and the offense that they could potentially have in 2019, do not count out the Angels. They could pick up a wild card spot as well. So we've already talked about the division winners. We talked about how the wild card is a little bit up in the air just because it's a little bit confusing to really dive deep into. The national wild card is going to be insane. The American League maybe not so much because it's either probably going to be the Red Sox or the Yankees at the number 1 spot, and then there's the Rays or the Angels or even the A's at the number 2 spot. So really the wild card is still up in the air for me. So the National League is still going to stay the same. It's going to be just as confusing and just as up in the air as we've talked about throughout this entire video. So we're going to go vote by vote. So out of 14, the Dodgers had 3 picks, the Braves had 2 picks, the Brewers picked up 2 as well, along with the Cardinals with 2, the Phillies with 2, the Rockies with 2, and then the Nationals with 1 lonely pick. But really, again, these are the teams that these guys feel are going to make the NLCS because there's 2 teams. So really, people are saying that the Dodgers are going to make it, so they're going to be the 1 spot, and then everyone else is tied aside from the lonely team at the bottom, the Nationals. I don't think that they're going to make the NLCS either, but the Rockies, the Phillies, the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Braves, I think they all have a chance. And then in regards to the American League, this one is a little interesting because they're going off the Las Vegas odds because a lot of people are still picking the Red Sox to be the favorites because they just won. But according to this article, the Yankees have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 14 votes, followed by the Astros at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Red Sox only received 2 out of 14 votes to even make the ALCS, and then this guy, the 1 out of the 14, chose the Twins to make the ALCS, but the Yankees are leading the pack with 6 out of 14 votes, followed by the Astros at 5 out of 14, the Red Sox with 2, and then the Lonely Twins with 1. So they're pretty much just like the Nationals. So at this point, again, I think we're kind of all over the place, but again, we're going off this article and the votes. So right now, based off of this article, they're pretty much saying that it's the Dodgers versus the Yankees in the 2019 World Series, but let's talk about who they think is really going to win. So just like I was saying in my live stream a couple days ago, once I was looking at all the new divisions, all the new teams and the additions and subtractions that these teams have made, again, everything's up in the air and it's confirmed by this article and all the final votes. So out of 14 people predicting who is going to win the World Series, 2 voted for the Astros, 2 voted for the Brewers, 2 voted for the Cardinals, 2 for the Dodgers, 2 for the Phillies, 2 for the Yankees, 1 for the Nationals, and 1 for the Rockies. So pretty much the translation, the assumption from this video is that if you guys are bettors out there and you want to try and pick a team to win the World Series, I tip my cap off to you, because if you, oh my gosh, let me put my hat on real quick because I don't want you guys to see the beehive that's on my head. But if you can predict the 2019 World Series winner, I will give you my entire bank account and say, you know what, go pick the 2020 winner, because you obviously know what you're doing. Because if you're asking me, Fuzzy, and all of these different people who are voting in this article, we have no idea. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of the article? I know it was scattered everywhere. Do you guys have one team in your head that you think is obviously better than everyone else, so you guys can pretty much say that this team is going to win? Or are you guys in the same position as myself and everyone else in this article? Do you guys have no idea? Because the article proved that this year is going to be just one to remember. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. I know that this video was a little bit different because I didn't come out and say that this team is going to win, because I really only said who is going to be in the World Series. I honestly have a good feeling about the Cardinals as well. I just think I love Paul Goldschmidt. I think he can make a profound impact, and if Andrew Miller can do what Andrew Miller does, their rotation is pretty solid. The Cardinals, they can make a pretty good run as well, but you know what? I can't pick a clear winner. I can't do it. And honestly, I'm not afraid to say that, because we're not like the NBA. There's not a clear-cut favorite like the Warriors. So I think this is going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. I cannot wait to see how the season progresses. Obviously, there's going to be more free agent signings. There's going to be injuries throughout the course of the season that might change the odds. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with Vegas? The Yankees are the #1 spot? Or do you agree with the article right here saying that the Dodgers are the favorite to win? So let me know in the comment section down below everything that we just talked about. Your opinions down below are much appreciated. Make sure you guys slap a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.